Good morning, ma'am, classmates. Today I'm going to discuss my task, my report about the Batas Pambansa Bilang 232. It is an act providing for the establishment and maintenance of an integrated system of education. When I say integrated system of education or integrated method, basically refers to the method of teaching wherein various styles are incorporated to each other in a way that should boost the learning experience that is to be imparted. And now we already have our integrated school, IS, in our country, and it refers to a public school that offers kindergarten, elementary, junior high school, and senior high school as well. And here, in this Act, Batas Pambansa, there are two main sessions assembled, wherein we have two. First, tackle the general provisions, and the second one is the educational community. And in this act, in these provisions, there are 18 sections embodied here. So let's proceed now. Okay, let's first discuss the general provisions, which included chapter 1 and chapter 2. The first one, the chapter 1, it is the preliminary matters. Section 1, title, this act shall be known as the Education Act of 1982. Section 2, coverage, this act shall apply to and govern both formal and non-formal system in public and private schools in all levels of the entire educational system. Chapter 2 says the declaration of basic state policy and objectives. So Section 3, declaration of basic policy, it is the policy of the state to establish and maintain a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the goals of national development. Toward this end, the government shall ensure, within the context of a free and democratic system, maximum contribution of the educational system to the attainment of the following national development goals. 1. To achieve and maintain an accelerating rate of economic development and social progress. 2. To assure the maximum participation of all the people in the attainment and enjoyment of the benefits of such growth. And last, to achieve and strengthen national unity and consciousness, and preserve and develop and promote desirable cultural, moral, and spiritual values in a changing world. Next, we have Section 4. It is the declaration of objectives, and the educational system aims to, number 1, provide for a broad general education that will assist individual in the peculiar ecology of his own society. When I say ecology, his environment that lies his families, friends, etc. And next, the first one is to attain his potentials as a human being. B, enhance the range and quality of individual and group participation in the basic functions of society. And C, acquire the essential educational foundation of his development into a productive and versatile citizen. Next, in Section 4, train the nation's manpower in the middle level skills required for national development. Third one, develop the professions that will provide leadership for the nation in the advancement of knowledge for improving the quality of human life. And this is related to all our professional teachers. And number 4, respond effectively to changing needs and conditions of the nation through a system of educational planning and evaluation. And next, we now go to the second session, the educational community. Okay, in chapter 1, there are also preliminary provisions. It includes Section 5. It is the declaration of policy and objectives. It is likewise declared government's policy to foster at all times a spirit of shared purpose and cooperation among the members and elements of the educational community and between the community and other sectors of society, in realization that only in such an atmosphere can the true goals, objectives of education be fulfilled. Moreover, the state shall, number 1, aid and support the natural right and duty of parents in the rearing of the youth through the educational system. So our parents is really the most number one educator of our youth, because they are the one responsible for their child through the educational system. So number 2, promote and safeguard the welfare and interest of the students by defining their rights and obligations according on privileges and encouraging the establishment of sound relationship between them and the other members of the school community. So number 3, that lies in section 5, promote the social and economic status of all school personnel, uphold their rights, define their obligations, and improve their living and working conditions and career prospects. When you say school personnel, may be composed of the school administrators, the faculties, and the working manpower there in the school. Then they also have the rights and define their obligations. So to improve, maybe especially on their economic status and living and working conditions. So next, the last one in section 5, extend support to promote the viability of those institutions through which parents, students, and school personnel seek to attain their educational goals. And so we're done with section 5. In section 6, it is the definition and coverage. Educational community refers to those persons or group of persons as or associated in institutions involved in organized teaching and learning systems. Okay, so here are the members and elements of the educational community. They are follows, such as number 1, parents or guardians or the head of the institution. Okay, so they are the most responsible one to foster home which has the custody of the pupil or students. Next, we have the students or those enrolled in and who regularly attend an educational institutions of secondary or higher level, or a person engaged in formal study. So why schools and institutions were being built or put up? Because mainly of our students. And last, school personnel or persons working for an educational institution, like what I said a while ago, it's made up of the teaching or academic staff, the faculty. Next is the school administrators, the president, the vice president, and so on, and academic non-teaching personnel and non-academic personnel. And lastly, the schools or institutions. Now, let's go to section number 7. Community participations. Every educational institution shall provide for the establishment of appropriate bodies through which the members of the educational community may discuss relevant issues and communicate information and suggestion for assistance and support of the school and for the promotion of their common interest. Okay, so representatives from each of the educational community shall sit and participate in these bodies, the rules and procedures of which must be approved by them and duly published. Okay, next we have chapter 2, the rights. Lies here the section 8 and section 9. Okay, so section 8, rights of parents. So we have also the rights of parents, not only for the personnel or the students, but also the rights of the parents. Here, number 1, the right to organize by themselves and or with teachers for the purpose of providing a forum for the discussion of matters relating to this total school program, and for ensuring the full cooperation of parents and teachers in the formulation and efficient implementation of such programs. So why it is being organized? Because of this, the home and school association. So through this, they can organize or they can managely talk about the improvement of the schools, and they can build a strong relationship among the parents and the school. Okay, so number 2, the right to access to any official record directly relating to the children who are under their parental responsibility. So the parents also have the right to access the records, especially the records of their children in school. So what's being written there or being reported about their children's performance in the school. Okay, so that's lies the section 8. And section 9, it is the rights of students in school. So not only for the parents, so we have also the rights of students in school, because students are mainly our focus and objectives in our school. Okay, so number 1, the right to receive primarily through competent instruction, relevant quality of education in line with national goals and conducive to their full development as persons with human dignity. So they have to the right to have a competent instruction, especially the quality of education, the knowledge. Okay, and so number 2, the right to freely choose their field of study subject to existing curricula and to continue their course therein up to graduation, except in cases of academic deficiency or violation of disciplinary regulations. Okay, so they also have the right to freely choose their own course, field of study. Okay, so third one, the right or school guidance and counseling services for making decisions and selecting the alternatives in fields of work suited to his potentialities, and the right to access to his own school records, the confidentiality of which the school shall maintain and preserve. So these are the rights of the students, and we also have more here. Number 5, the right of the issuance of official certificates, diplomas, transcript of records, grades, transfer credentials, and other similar documents within 30 days from request. This is an example of when the student transfer to another school, he or she has the right to get his certificates, the diplomas from his former school, and that former school should provide all the necessary documents that he is asking for, especially his certificates, diplomas, and etc. And so number 6, the right to publish a student newspaper and similar publications, as well as the right to invite persons during assemblies, symposium, and other activities of similar nature. And so the right to free expression of opinions and suggestions and to effective channels of communication with appropriate academic and administrative bodies of the school or institution. So he has also the privilege to freely express his opinions and suggestions. Okay, so number 8, the right to form, establish, join, and participate in an organization and societies recognized by the school to foster the intellectual, cultural, spiritual, and physical growth and development, or to form, establish, join, and maintain organizations and societies for purposes not contrary to law. And number 9, the right to be free from involuntary contributions, except those approved by their own organization or societies. Next, we have the section 10, the rights of all school personnel. So here, there are 4 rights embodied here. Number 1, the right to free expression of opinion and suggestions and to effective channels of communication with appropriate academic and administrative bodies of the school or institution. So they also have the freedom to express their opinion and suggestions. So number 2, the right to be provided with free legal service by the appropriate government office in the case of public school personnel and through the school authorities concerned in the case of private school personnel. Next is the right to establish, join, and maintain labor organization or professional and self-regulating organizations of their choice to promote their welfare and defend their interests, and the right to be free from involuntary contributions except those imposed by their own organizations. Okay, next we have the section 12, special rights of school administrators. School administrators shall, in accordance with existing laws, regulators, and policy of the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, be accorded sufficient administrative discretion necessary for the efficient performance of their functions. And school administrators shall be deemed persons in authority while in the discharge of lawful duties and responsibilities, and shall therefore be accorded due respect and protection. So uh, the school administrators are being given these special privilege and rights. So Section 13 lies the rights of school. So number 1, the right of their governing boards of lawful and authorities to provide for the proper governance of the school and to adopt and enforce administrative or management systems. Number 2, the right for institutions of higher learning to determine on academic grounds who shall be admitted to study, who may teach, and what shall be the subjects of the study and research. Okay? So let's go to chapter 3, duties and obligations. In this duties and obligations lies the section 14, 15, and so on with the rest. Okay, so section 14, duties of parents. Parents individually or collectively through the school system shall help carry out the educational objectives in accordance with national goals. So there are duties and responsibilities of parents because parents are also connected to the school because of their child to promote and good for the betterment of the school or institution. So number 2, parents shall be obligated to enable their children to obtain elementary education and shall strive to enable them to obtain secondary and higher education in the pursuance of the right formation of the youth. Okay? And last, parents shall cooperate with the school in the implementations of the school program, curricular and co-curricular. So, from the SSA organizations, of course, they are duly responsible to cooperate towards another in the school. So, section 15, duties and responsibilities of students. Okay. There are 5 things and duties and responsibilities of students. We have number 1, exert his utmost to develop his potentialities for service, particularly by undergoing an education and suited to his abilities in order that he may become an asset to his family and to his society. Number 2, she or he must uphold the academic integrity of the school, endeavor to achieve academic excellence, and abide by the rules and regulations governing his academic responsibilities and moral integrity. 3, promote and maintain the peace and tranquility of the school by observing the rules of discipline and by efforts to attain harmonious relationships with fellow students, the teaching and academic staff, and other personnel. Participate actively in civic and in the promotions of the general welfare, particularly in the social, economic, and cultural development of his community and in the attainment of a just, compassionate, and orderly society. And number 5, exercise his rights responsibly in the knowledge that he is answerable for any infringement or violation of the public welfare and of the rights of others. Okay, so these are the duties and responsibilities of students. Okay, so section 16, the teacher's obligations. Every teacher shall, number 1, perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objectives of the school. Be accountable for the efficient and effective attainment of specified learning objectives in pursuance of national development goals within the limits of available school resources. 3, render regular reports on performance of each student and to the latter's parents or guardians with specific suggestions for improvement. 4, assume the responsibility to maintain and sustain his professional growth and advancement and maintain professionalism in his behavior at all times. Refrain from making deduction in students' scholastic ratings for acts that are clearly not manifestations of poor scholarship. Participate as an agent of constructive, social, economic, moral, intellectual, cultural, and political change in the school and the community within the context of national policies. So these are the teacher's obligations that a teacher must do and perform all of his or her duties, because a teacher flows the teaching, the knowledge to impart for their learners, to their learners as well. Okay, so section 17, the school administrator's obligations, perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objective of the school. Be accountable for the efficient and effective administration and management of the school. Number 3, develop and maintain a healthy school atmosphere conducive to the promotion and preservation of academic freedom and effective teaching and learning to harmonious and progressive school-personal relationship. 4, assume and maintain professional behavior in his work and in dealing with students, teachers, academic, non-teaching, personnel, administrative, staff, and parents or guardians. And last, render adequate reports to teachers, academic, non-teaching, personnel, and non-academic staff on their actual performance in relation to the expected performance and counsel them on ways of improving the same. So these are the rights or obligations of the school administrators. And for the addition of this one, okay, number 6, observe due process, fairness, promptness, privacy, constructiveness, and consistency in disciplining his teachers and other personnel. So they are the one who manage and rules the constructiveness for their teachers and other personnel. In number 7, maintain adequate records and submit required reports to the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports. So they are also responsible for maintaining records and submitting it in time, the required reports to the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports. Now it is DEX, Department of Education. And the last one, Section 18, lies the obligations of academic non-teaching personnel. So number 1, improve himself professionally by keeping abreast of the latest trends and techniques in his profession. Number 2, assume, promote, and maintain a professional attitude towards his work, students, teachers, administrative staff, and relate with them in a supportive and cordial manner. And 3, promote and maintain an atmosphere conducive to service and learning. So these are all the 18 sections that embodied in the Batas Pambansa Bilang 232. So these are all my presentation. The end. Thank you and God bless. Good morning.